Hello, and welcome to another episode of My Faith is Bigger Than My Fears podcast. I am your host, Tamala Ingram, and for this episode, episode 15 is dedicated to Mason Alexander. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who has reached out, who has DM'd, who is constantly praying for Mason's family, his mother, Kelly, his sisters, Jay and Kennedy, his brothers, his nieces and nephews, his nana, and to his friends. Thank you for also reaching out and checking on my son. It is a day-by-day process, but we wanted to honor Mason for episode 15. So my son and I talked about what do we do for episode 15. So of course, we're going to honor Mason. So I have some special guests with me who are going to explain or share what Mason Alexander, number 15, means to them.
Hi, it's tragically. I just want to talk a little about what Mason meant to me. Mason was a special person. Like since I moved over here, started going to Riverside, met him in Chandler. Like my first week of school, they sat with me at lunch. First people to really like talk to me, and then after that, we started hanging out all the time. Started getting closer every day. Shared a lot of good memories over the years. Known him since seventh grade, so. Mason was just like, he was, no matter what was going on in life, no matter what he was going through, he always had a smile on his face. He always made you feel better. He always, even if you were having a bad day, he's goofy, he's making you laugh, y'all are dancing. So, Mason just like lit up the room. He just cared about anyone. He never met a stranger. He could have met you just a couple seconds ago. He's already making you laugh. He's already talking to you, making you feel included in everything I do. So Mason had a good heart. He had a good soul. It's hard to find people like that. He was a one-of-a-kind person. I'm glad I knew him for so long. I'm glad we were so close. I'm glad I got to share so many memories with him. And I'm always remember that. I'm always cherish those memories. And, I'm just glad I got to know Money Man Mason because he was a one-of-a-kind person. And Mrs. Kelly, we love you. Stay strong. My heart is with you.
Hi, my name is Brendan Baker, and I was fortunate and lucky enough to call Mason a brother. What Mason means to me is brotherhood. He showed so much love. He was caring. He was respectful. He was thoughtful. Whether that was him just calling or texting and checking in when he was at Pitt, or him just popping up randomly at the house. The door was always open to him, and he knew our garage code. I don't know how. My mom probably gave to him, but um, he just brought so much joy and happiness to every single room he was in. For him being the superstar that he was so humble. You'll never think that. Well, everyone knew who he was, but that's like football wasn't who he is. It's just a byproduct of how great of a person or how great of a guy he was. And I'm gonna miss our workouts together. He worked so hard. He had that desire in him. You could tell he wanted to be great so bad, and he was. Um, I miss pushing each other. No one really wanted to get up in the morning with me, and Mason, quite frankly, didn't want to either. But he always showed up. That was the thing. He always showed up for every single time. I'm just gonna miss his confidence, his energy, his goofiness. Him coming over after school and me just playing Fortnite together, and just hugging after we won the game. He's special. So I was just fortunate enough to know him and be close with him and share an abundance of memories with him. I would just truly call him my best friend, and a brother. So Kelly, I am praying for you. I love you. I'm praying for your family. And I know that 15 is still with us. And he's still pushing us. He's pushing me. Whenever it gets hard, I just think of how my brother would be pushing me to be better in anything. So I love you guys. And
Hi, I'm Ava Wright, and Mason to me was just genuine and pure joy. He was such a silly person, such a laughable, like he was just so fun and so funny to be around. And there were very few moments that I was around him that I wasn't happy and smiling, and that's because he just always showed joy. He never let his life and what he went through in life affect him as a person and let it overcome him, especially with his dad. Because there were times where he would get sad about it, but he never let that affect his personality. He was always still so happy, so joyful, and that's something that I definitely will carry with me for the rest of my life, just not taking what the moments that I did have with him for granted, and also not letting the fact that he's not here physically um, affect the joy that I show other people, because that's something that he showed me through what he went through with his dad and still being so happy. And that's something that I want to be for him, just learning to still show love and show happiness and joy to other people, because that's something that was really important to him. And you could meet him for the first time and you would have never thought that he would have went through anything bad in his entire life because of how happy he was all the time. And I just want to be that for other people. So that's something that he means to me. And Miss Kelly, I want to say thank you for letting me just know your son and love you and your family so well. And I am just so grateful for all of you guys and how amazing you raised Mason in such a beautiful way, and he truly was such an amazing person because of you and what you instilled in him. So yeah, I just want to say thank you, and I love you guys.
Hey, my name is Christian Ortiz, and I'm a senior at Hamilton Southeastern High School. This video goes out for my brother Money Mason, what he meant to me. To me, Mason was the one who could always lift me up. I'd come into practice upset about something that happened prior that day, and he could always tell when something was off. And I would just hear Breezy from afar, and I always knew it was him. And I'd turn around and see him smiling, and everything that made me mad would just disappear. Mason showed me how to always look for the good in every situation, no matter what. I remember after we lost state last year, I didn't want to talk to anybody because I was just so mad. But the moment I got on the bus with Mason and Chan, the feeling started to fade. Because even though we didn't win it all, I still got to win the 4x1 with my brothers. I'll never forget how good it felt to see our hard work finally pay off, and I wouldn't have wanted to win it with anybody else. Every moment with Mason was a good one, and I'll always hold on to those moments. He was pure joy, and from all the practices spent dancing and having fun to the times he'd come over just to hang out or to hop in the pool, those moments meant everything. Mason was always there for me, and I know he'll be with me every step of the way. Miss Kelly, I just want to personally thank you, and I want to tell you that I love you, and I want to thank God for blessing me with a brotherhood I'll never forget. I love you, Mason, and forever 15.
Hey, my name is Chandler Weston. Mason was my brother. So ever since 7th grade, 6th grade, we made him play football. I was at Riverside at the time, and he was quiet at first, and then he just slowly got more confident, and we got closer over the years. He would just pop up at my house randomly, and he was just someone that always was positive and optimistic. Like when I was down, he was always there for me, and he would always make me tell him that I loved him, which I do love him. That was my brother. Mason was the most kind, selfless person I knew. He always had energy, even in the mornings, football practice. We have 6 a.m. workouts. He's there bringing the energy, dancing, smiling. And just those like nights where he would just come over, just like we could be sitting in my room, just not doing anything, but He'd be there when I was down, when I was up. He was just there, positive every time I saw him. Yeah, I'd like to send my condolences to Miss Kelly, my mama. That I love you, and Forever 15.
So who was Mason Alexander, number 15 to me? Mason was my bonus son. My son Chandler and Mason have been best friends since 6th grade. Mason was always and will always hold a special place in my heart. I thank God because I got to meet such a genuine, kind, selfless, loving young man who brought so much joy even to my life, to the point that he brought his mom, Kelly, a new sister into my life, and his sisters and his Nana. The fact that the boys have brought us together, we are family forever. A couple of things that I will cherish and think about with Mason is one, Mason did not care how many times I called his name during the football game. He was going to come to the sidelines to see what I needed. Mason just had a heart, a huge heart. He loved kids. He loved giving. He loved hard. He was loyal. He was a great brother, a great son, a great friend, a great uncle, a great grandson. He was great. Mason's smile. That's what I always see is Mason's smile. So as I reflect on the number 15 and I think about Mason, I will always think about our last conversation that we had. I got to talk to him on March 1st. He told me how much he loved me. He told me how excited he was to be able to start spring ball. He shared with me how he was doing great in all his classes and how he was excited to be able to start his classes that he was doing his major in. He was so happy. Mason always was happy. Even when Mason wasn't having a great day, you would have not known unless he shared that with you. Mason always had a smile on his face. Mason was a jokester. Mason was my dancing partner. Every time after a game, especially if he had a pick six or we just won the game, Mason and I will always find each other and do our little dance. I will miss Mason, but I know he's with us and he's in our hearts. And I know he's watching over us. We always got to look for the signs that he's given us. So with that being said, I want to also say again, thank you to Kelly for allowing me to make episode 15 all about Mason Alexander. Thank you again to Chandler, to Christian, to Pat, to Brennan, and to Ava for making your videos. They're so heartfelt and warming and express what Mason Alexander number 15 means to you. As we continue to pray for Kelly and Mason's sisters and Mason's brothers and nieces and nephews and his Nana and everybody in the community that's hurting, the football family, let's remember this, Mason's favorite scripture, which is in John 15, verse 5. And I'm going to read it. And it says, Jesus says, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abides in me, and I am in him, the same bringeth much fruit, for without me ye can do nothing. We honor you, Mason. We love you, and we will always carry the number 15 with us. Until next time, I am your host, Tamala Ingram, of My Faith is Bigger Than My Fears podcast. Remember that Mason loved God. Mason knew God. Mason's favorite scripture, John 15:5. He knew that we are branches, and without God, without Jesus Christ, we can do nothing. So until next time, tune in every Monday for a new episode. And I pray that you all will carry Mason number 15 with you. But most of all, carry Jesus Christ with you. until we meet next time.